We had a very busy weekend. We got the 6 hostages out of Venezuela, as you probably know, and they're very safe right now. They're home with their families, and we appreciate the hard work of a lot of people, including Rick Grinnell. We appreciate the cooperation from Venezuela, and we have some very happy people right now. Nobody thought that was going to happen. So they are home, they're safe, and they're with their families. That was a big one. Secretary of State Rubio is in Panama right now, and we're talking about the Panama Canal. What they've done is terrible. They violated the agreement. They're not allowed to violate the agreement. China's running the Panama Canal. That was not given to China. That was given to Panama foolishly. But they violated the agreement, and we're going to take it back, or something very powerful is going to happen.
A lot of people thought that Trump was BSing. Clearly, he wasn't BSing at all. He didn't have a BS bone in his body. For everybody that was used to politicians just telling them what they want to hear or pandering to a community and not being 100% straight up. And one of the things that we've always said about Trump, like him, love him, hate him, adore him, is that what he says, he's going to execute on. And the only reason he didn't execute on it the way that we thought that he should have in the first election, as far as being able to get as much done as he possibly could, is because he did not control all 3 branches of government. But he really learned from his last situation, and boy, this first, the second as of the recording of this video, which means that we was only, 13, 14? We ain't even had 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And it's just been on a whirlwind. So promises made, promises delivered, everything that he said on the campaign trail, he was not messing around.
And as far as other things are concerned, as you know, we had a very busy weekend. We're dealing with Israel. We're dealing with Ukraine and Russia. We have meetings and talks scheduled with various parties, including Ukraine and Russia. And I think those discussions are actually going pretty well. The discussions on the Middle East with Israel and various and sundry other countries are progressing. Bibi Netanyahu's coming on Tuesday, and I think we have some very big meetings scheduled.
Mr. President, do you feel that Elon Musk is delivering on his promises to you? Do you feel he's doing a good job right now with
I do. I think Elon's doing a good job. He's a big cost cutter. Sometimes we won't agree with it and we'll not go where he wants to go, but I think he's doing a great job. He's a smart guy, very smart, and he's very much into cutting the budget of our federal government.
Mr. President.
That's a big thing. Like, let's not skip past that. Let's talk about that for a minute, because one thing that we've all complained about is that we don't like the fact that our federal tax dollars, the money that we involuntarily pay, no matter what we have to do, involuntarily pay, have to go into this big old pot that they then distribute over to other countries, that we waste, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, and they going through with a fine-tooth comb, and they saying, listen, we not playing that game. Everything is going to be upended. Everything is on a chopping block. And if you can get laid off, like us regular everyday people can get laid off, then why can't we hold the federal government accountable for where our tax dollars is going in the first place? I think it's important. And I also like the fact that he says sometimes we're not going to agree with what it is that he does, and we may pull back on that thing. But he's a phenomenal businessman. He's an incredible cost cutter, and he's going through with a fine-tooth comb, and he's making sure that our tax dollars is being used appropriately. And we only 2 weeks in. That's the thing that I want to emphasize. 2 weeks in.
From Canada.
Say it.
You saw some retaliatory tariffs from Canada. There was a rider in the order. Are you planning to increase the tariffs against Canada?
Well, it could happen. If they do anything, we will. Canada's been very abusive of the United States for many years. They don't allow our banks. Did you know that? Canada does not allow banks to go in. If you think about it, that's pretty amazing. If we have a U.S. bank, they don't allow them to go in. Canada's been very tough on oil, on energy. They don't allow our farm products in, essentially. They don't allow a lot of things in, and we allow everything to come in. It's been a one-way street. We subsidize Canada by the tune of about $200 billion a year, And for what? What do we get out of it? We don't get anything out of it. I love the people of Canada. I disagree with the leadership of Canada. And something's going to happen there. But if they want to play the game, I don't mind. We can play the game all they want. Mexico, we've had very good talks with them. And this is retaliatory. This is retaliatory to a certain extent. Millions of people flowed into our country through Mexico and Canada, and we're not going to allow that. And by the way, we have among the lowest numbers we've ever had of people crossing our border, the lowest numbers since my administration.
Mr. President, you said, so on Truth Social,
There you have it, straight out of the horse's mouth, directly to you.
you said that you were going to cut aid from South Africa. Will you plan to cut aid
Yeah,
from
we done
other
with South
African
Africa.
nations? And
We
why
in America.
It's only South Africa. Terrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
And on the Fed Chair Jerome Powell, he held rates. What's your reaction to him not changing the rates?
What did you say?
Fed Chair Jerome Powell, the Fed meeting was this week, he held the rates. He didn't cut them.
No,
or
I'm not
anything.
surprised. I think holding the rates at this point was the right thing to do.
Mr. President, which country will be next on tariffs? Would you consider taxing the UK, for example?
Well, we're going to see what happens. It'll happen. But we're going to, we'll see how things work out. It might happen with them, but it will definitely happen with the European Union. I can tell you that, because they've really taken advantage of us. And, you know, we have over a $300 billion deficit. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm products. They take almost nothing. And we take everything from them. Millions of cars, tremendous amounts of food and farm products. So the UK is way out of line, and we'll see the UK, but European Union is really out of line. UK is out of line, but I'm sure that one, I think that one can be worked out. But the European Union it's an atrocity, what they've done.
What Trump is basically saying is no more one-way streets. No more everybody benefit from us, but we don't get the benefit from them, and then we subsidize their economy. And then because a bunch of raging liberals is angry and they worried about the price of popsicles inside of the grocery store going up, that they sit here and say, no, we stand with Canada, then you a traitor and you need to lead this country also.
Well, Prime Minister Starmer has been very nice. We've had a couple of meetings. We've had numerous phone calls. We're getting along very well. And we'll see whether or not we can balance out our budget. With the European Union, it's $350 billion deficit. So obviously something's going to take place there.
Can I follow up on this? For the European Union, what's your timeline? And are you thinking along the line 25%, 10%?
With who? With who?
The EU, how much?
I wouldn't say there's a timeline, but it's going to be pretty soon. No, I'm not concerned. We may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that. But long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world. We have deficits with almost every country. Not every country, but almost. And we're going to change it. It's been unfair. That's why we owe $36 trillion. We have deficits with everybody. We help everybody. We've been helping everybody for years. And to be honest, I don't think they appreciate it. So we're going to change that. We're going to change it fast. We're going to make America great again. We have to focus on our country. We have tremendous potential if properly used, and we have to focus on our country. Tremendous deficits with China, tremendous deficits with the European Union, tremendous deficits with Mexico and Canada. And why? What's the purpose of that? Why would we have deficits? And you look at if you look at pharmaceuticals and drugs, if you look at various products, it's much cheaper in other countries. We're not going to allow that much longer. We're not going to take it. Well, it's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out. USAID. run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out, and then we'll make a decision.
You know what's so funny? I just literally read an article about 15 minutes prior to watching this video with you guys, because I'm watching it in real time. It's the first time that I've seen it at the same time that I'm recording this. And the U.S. Well, let me look at it again, because I actually had it up on my computer. Oh, what was the name of it? I was reading it. It was called... Man, I forgot what the name of the article was called. It was basically breaking down how Elon Musk. Oh, here it is. USAID, courtesy of ABC News, and I was looking at it on actual Yahoo, and I could bring the article up because this is what I was looking at about how egregious they've been and how Doge reps is basically going into the offices. And Elon Musk tweeted on X that it was a radical organization and so on and so forth. And dramatic scenes being played out of individuals identifying themselves as State Department employees and Doge representatives arrived at their offices in a Ronald Reagan building. So yeah, I was just reading an article about it and breaking down to learn more about it so that I could start having more conversations about this in particular, because I wasn't as familiar with the organization as when I first stumbled upon this story. So now that I see Trump talking about it, it's an interesting dynamic. But we have been being ripped off inside of the United States of America. Obviously, Trump is righting the wrongs of all of those that came before us, and we have a tremendous opportunity in this state, in this country, amongst our own people to be able to start to balance the scales and not let people take advantage of us to the point to where we operating at a trade deficit with almost every single country taking advantage of us and not appreciating what goes on in the United States of America. So let me know what y'all think inside of the chat. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Teach Henley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.